Hi, welcome back to Project Brupeg.
Now that the boat's in the water, we need to be able to stay on anchor for extended periods of time. So that means a lot of energy, and we need to be able to generate that from renewable sources if possible. So we'd like to introduce you to the solar component of our energy system on board Brupeg.
When Dame and I started talking about what systems we're going to have on board, I asked him what would be his ultimate, like his ideal solution for solar or power generation on board. And these panels with this company is what he said he wanted. And for us, it was like an impossible dream.
Yeah, it was. It was something that we were hoping that we could cobble together a solution, and then we did something unusual. We reached out to the exact company we wanted to work with and asked for the exact thing that we wanted, the amount of panels and everything, kind of completely not thinking that they would come back and even talk to us. And holy, these guys blew us out of the water. They were amazing. They came back and said, "You guys and your project sound awesome. Let's work together." And we're like, wow, all right.
And of course, being Brupeg, the timeline got pushed and pushed and pushed for deliverables and the agreement with them, and they've been so patient and so just incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
And they're excited about the project. It's amazing. So we want to introduce you to our sponsor, and they're sponsoring us for quite a while. We're going to be doing projects with them, hopefully.
Yeah.
But the panels are just beautiful, and we're so lucky to have you guys. Thank you. So let's introduce them.
Yeah, we'd love you to meet BougeRV. These guys make more projects possible for Project Brupeg over the next 12 months.
And make the whole thing possible.
Yeah.
Without solar.
Yeah.
Without power.
We'd be dead in the water. That one fell a bit flat. All right, not a good time to have low energy. Because of them, we have nearly 5 kilowatts of solar on Brupeg. So that's just a stupid amount of solar. Like most yachts have maybe a fifth of that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's an incredible opportunity for the project because of what these guys have done for us.
We've had them for a while, so we're going to be going back in time.
Dream sequence.
You're going to see Carlos and Margot and Robin, and because there was so much delay, and so everyone helped us. It was really fun.
Yeah.
But we want to take you through kind of like a review of how we've experienced it, right from them arriving right through to laying them and starting to generate some power from them.
Yeah.
Going forward, we're going to be doing quite a lot of feeding back to you some information. We're going to be testing them, Duncan's setting up systems, and we're going to be really thoroughly looking at them.
And a lot of people had some concerns when we mentioned we're getting thin film solar panels. And being Brupeg, we're not going to be polite with these panels. We're going to treat them like they're on a workboat. You know, they're going to experience absolutely everything that we would normally put this boat through. And so far we've had them for about 6 months on the boat, and so far these things have absolutely blown us away in terms of how good they are.
And can I say how gorgeous they look?
Yeah, they do look really good.
I think they really suit the boat.
Yeah, they do.
But they're really beautiful. They're stunning. I love them.
Yeah.
So join us on this episode, and we've also got a little surprise for you. We're usually on real time most of the time with when we release our episodes, but we're a little bit behind. So something has happened that's really exciting. We'll give you a little snip about what's been going on that you don't know about.
I think you'll like it.
Brupeg was a sunken fishing trawler that was stripped out and ready for the scrapyard. She's just completed a 10-year rebuild that's brought her back to life. With the help of volunteers and funded by our Patreons, community and subscribers, she'll be crewed by passionate people from around the world. If you'd like to be involved and support the project, please consider joining us on Patreon or subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the description below.
Here we go.
It's kind of like a Tetris, but it's only one shape.
I love the chuck.
It's like filleting a fish, but very different.
Damien, you're going to need help with this.
You do that side.
Yeah. So how much of I don't slice the... Hey, look at that.
All right. Let's get these guys out.
Yep.
I'll hold the box down, you pull that up. There we go. Right.
Wow.
All right, that's awesome. Let's have a good look at them, eh?
That's incredible. Damn, that's exciting.
That thin one will fit just. I don't know if it's going to work or not.
How much time's left on the drone? 20 minutes or so?
I get you on my radar, it's a beauty. A little dot on the screen and it hits me. I will never let you out of sight.
So I want to talk to you about why we chose these specific panels. These are our dream panels. They're incredibly hardy, and the technology has been around for a long time, so it's not like this is a new unproven technology. This is something that's really well known. CIGS panels have been used in the military for a long time. They're incredibly hardy and tough, and that's why the military uses them a lot of times over, say, silicon panels. So these are often used in really harsh conditions compared to silicon, where you have to be a bit more protective of them. So as you can see, I'm walking on them. There's no issue to treat these a little bit rough, something you'd never do on a silicon panel. You can bend them. You can do all sorts of stuff that you cannot do with a silicon panel. Yeah, you can walk on them. You can actually, they show them being driven over. I'm not going to drive over these at any stage as part of this demonstration.
Handstand.
Yeah, you can handstand on them. That is not something to recommend doing on a silicon panel. They're much more efficient when it comes to shading, partial degradation of the panel, that sort of thing. So what that means for a boat, so on a boat you almost never get a panel that doesn't have shading on it. So because they get much higher output when you have partial shading, overall you're going to get more solar input into your boat because you're not going to get so much loss when it comes to shading and sort of negative conditions when it comes to, like, you know, solar radiation. The other cool thing about these panels is because you can walk on them, because they're flexible and because you can walk on them, you can put them in places that you normally wouldn't put a panel. So like decks, walk spaces, things like that. So it opens up a whole raft of possibilities when it comes to putting panels on a boat or an RV or a caravan. As you'll see in a minute, when we start laying out all of these panels, it didn't take us more than a couple of hours to get the whole lot laid down. Now, it's not something that you can do with regular silicon panels if you're putting racks and having to do all of the framing and everything in order to bolt the panels to it. These ones, because they just glue straight down, there's no building needed. You can literally just put it straight onto your roof, your caravan, your RV, boat, whatever it happens to be. You can just glue it straight down, and these handle normal highway conditions. So you can be driving along with your caravan or your camper van, and you can be doing 100, 120 Ks, 60, 70 miles an hour, and these panels, they'll stay there all day, every day. The glue on these things is pretty remarkable. So the way these panels are held on, just roll it upside down. So this is basically a really, like, absolutely awesome double-sided tape, essentially. It's like a, let me peel it back for you. You can sort of see, it's maybe a bit hard to see, but it's really sort of gooey. It's almost like tar. So once you put that on, that's not coming off. So the plan is to lay these panels out and basically figure out if our solar plan, so this is the plan that we're working to here, we don't necessarily know if this is going to be absolutely bang on accurate. So we're going to lay these panels out, unroll them all, and see if they fit, and if there's a better layout when we start manually moving them around and things like that. So that's the plan for now, is everybody to throw their ideas in, see if we can get as much solar on this roof as possible.
I will never let you out of sight. That's my mission. That's my mission tonight. Do you know what it means that we're the same kind? The desire you feel isn't the same as mine. I could let you go, but why should I? You're my mission. You're my mission tonight.
So we've got 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. There's two things. I'm trying to do a walkway, but I'm also trying to avoid shading, at least.
I'm an exhaust stack.
Yeah, so, no, it's a good,
Maybe that high.
so Jess just said anywhere that we can see paint, we're going to put grip on. So it's important to have some areas with grip. So we can quite comfortably do 3.4 kilowatts and 5 charge controllers and everything simple.
We've seen this nice space and decided to stick this space.
Oh, right.
Is your first panel okay? Did I bump it? Or?
No, yeah, you bumped it, but I corrected it.
Alright, sweet.
It's fine.
So the issue that we have is the roof is not a
same
straight
here.
rectangle shape. So obviously everything's got curves and bends and things like that you have to take account of. The other bit that's completely screwing up the symmetry of things is we have an exhaust funnel that we need to deal with. So 2/3 of the way down the back of the roof, you've got this exhaust pipe, which is the main engine. It's going to also be the generators and so on. And we have to build a funnel that is essentially a muffler inside there as well. So it's a big square box that has to get built up onto the roof. And we have to take account of that for shading. We also have to leave enough room to actually fit that box up on the roof.
Once the layout is organised,
We peel the panels very carefully up so that we don't disturb the layout with one person standing at the end. We peel one end of the double-sided tape off. You can see this clear plastic is what's on top of the double-sided, so it's already been peeled off at that end. And then we very gently lay the panel down on this area, making sure that we've wiped the area with acetone first. We found the technique that worked best was 3 people, one pulling on the plastic backing strips, one person guiding the panel down like Bert's doing here, and Duncan gently feathering the panel down so you don't get any lumps or bumps or air bubbles trapped in anything, and then peel the final piece of backing strip off and lay the panel down.
That's already curves like the roof itself.
Yeah.
It's not straight anymore.
Then it was just a case of rinse and repeat. So once we had our process down, we had 2 people wipe the roof down with acetone so it was absolutely spotless, lay the panel down where it needs to go, peel the backing strips off, and we tuck them around the sides, so 2 on each side. There's 4 strips in total, so you can see pulling them around to the side like that. And then this strip off to the other side. Once you've got the plastic backing strips out of the way, you can then just gently roll the panel down and guide it into position. And then it's exactly the same process in reverse to do the other end of the panel. Once you've got the first end stuck down, the alignment of the panel doesn't change, so you're able to push it down with confidence knowing that you're going to have your layout exactly as you wanted it to be. This panel looks a little bit different. It's a 100 watt panel as opposed to a 200 watt panel, which we've been applying up until this point, and hence it only has 2 black strips. It's half the width. It's exactly the same length though. The layout that we came up with that has the highest number of solar panels on Brupeg's rear roof has 9 solar panels set up in 3 groups of 3 down the port side of the rear roof. So laying them down here, we put the outer panels down first because they determine where everything else sits. There's a huge amount of roof space, so it took the whole team a full day to get these panels down because there's just so many of them. We found the best footwear for doing this was Australian animal socks. Here's something you don't see every day, putting your solar panels down using your feet, and then walking on the panel afterwards. With these particular panels, they're designed for this. It's completely normal for us to be able to walk on these panels, and we do so often. The panels themselves are located in areas where we will be walking on them. We're not shying away from that on Brupeg, and it's one of the reasons why we chose these panels specifically, because they're capable of being able to walk on them without having degradation. So this is our final layout, glued down to the roof of Brupeg. You can see our safety line right down the middle of the roof, doesn't touch any of the panels, gets right to the very back end. It's got a little bit of overlap on a panel where it clips on over here, but it doesn't physically touch them. You can see the shadow is showing it off the roof, and the stainless clip doesn't hook onto any panels, and therefore we're not going to have chafage. Just here you can see the stainless clip, so that should be okay. We've got plenty of space in this area here for our stack, so it's going to come back here, and our little cable box will be down here for these group of panels, and then this group will have a cable box somewhere up in this area just down in here, and it allows some room for our storage box, which is located in this area here. And then up the front we've got some people for scale. We have a nice clear space in this area here where we can locate our dinghy for storage when we're at sea. The solar is on the rear roof. We've got the wheelhouse to do and the front cabin as well. All of this is only possible because of our sponsor BougeRV. We're incredibly grateful to you guys for helping us out. This is absolutely awesome to have such really good quality, decent solar panels on here. CIGS solar panels, not silicon solar panels. We can walk on them. It achieves everything we need to do with Brupeg, and we're going to be doing some really exciting projects with these guys coming up in the next 12 months, so can't wait to share that with you. Thank you so much, Bouge, for being a part of this. It's awesome to have you on board. With the rear roof now complete, we managed to get 14 200 watt panels and one 100 watt panel on the back end of the boat. So we have 2.9 kilowatts of solar on the rear roof. It's time to start considering what we're doing with the wheelhouse. We know we're going to have a lot of issues up here with shading. We've got radar, Starlink, antennas, radar mast and wings. We'll be placing a laser across these panels at some point. So these panels will be highly compromised in terms of their output. They're also located smack in the middle of a walkway, so it's going to be a great test of what these panels can and can't do in terms of how long do they last where there's no option but to walk on them, and also when they're getting the maximum amount of shading and terrible conditions for solar to work on. On the wheelhouse roof we can fit 4 200 watt solar panels. These will be split into 2 groups of 2, so 400 watts on either side of the radar mast, and each has its own MPPT charge controller so that we can control the maximum amount of power, and one side won't affect the other side in terms of shading. So you can see how flat these panels really lay down. So they're only maybe 1 millimetre or 2 millimetres thick. They're incredibly thin and the edge tapers off, so you haven't got something sticking up to catch your feet or anything like that. I can't pick it up, I can't even define the edge with my foot. And that's normal all the way around these panels. So they're awesome when it comes to removing trip hazards around your boat as well. The other side of them is because they're so thin, they're also incredibly light. So this 200 watt panel, kg&a, something like that, they're pretty blimmin' light. So it's something that if you are concerned about weight up high on your roof or whatever, they're a great way to actually deal with that. So in terms of resilience testing these panels, we're going to be testing them for the next 12 months on the boat. So we'll be able to give you an idea as to how they deal with wear and tear. And again, we're not going to be precious with these panels. We're going to be walking on them. We're going to be, lifting stuff over them. We're going to be treating them as we would with any other piece of equipment on Brupeg. It's got to be tough and hardy to survive on this boat. So we're not going to hold back. We're going to give you the nitty gritty of what they're actually like after a good 12 months of Brupeg use. We'll also show you the performance, so we know what they perform like brand new. We'll be able to show you if there's any performance degradation over time, and we'll start to get a really good idea as to how much dirt and salt and things like that actually do affect them in the real world. So we're doing a bit of a test to see how much we're actually getting power-wise off these. So when this is hooked up, open circuit voltage, we've got 28.9. That's full sun, not absolute perfect conditions in terms of angle, but something that would normally destroy voltage on another cell. We're getting 28.4, so it's hardly bumped it down with a big chunk of the panel gone through the box being there and shading and so on. This is obviously volts only, not an amperage test, but that's pretty impressive when it comes to how little it's affecting it. So we've had these panels on the boat for maybe 3-6 months now, and something that we never really factored in was just how well they would perform in degraded conditions like salt sitting on top of the panel, or in our case sandblasting grit and dust and rubbish from the yard. So these, if we washed our boat when we were sitting in the yard, within 24 hours to 48 hours, it would be caked and covered in sand and dust again. It was an incredibly dusty environment. So we've got a pretty good knowledge base when it comes to how well they actually do in terrible, terrible conditions. And one thing that really surprised us was with silicon panels, which is what I've been used to in the past, if you get that degraded condition on your panel, you do see a large drop off with performance. And I assumed we would have exactly the same thing with these. And the marketing material sort of said, they perform really well. And I thought, yeah, everyone's marketing material says that. What I didn't realize is when we actually tested them in the real world, is it's pretty much bang on what they say in the marketing material. So when these are just caked and covered in rubbish, and the difference in performance between that awful scenario and being perfectly clean is practically zilch. They just don't degrade when it comes to having lots of crap sitting on top of the panels, and it's something that absolutely blew me away with how well they perform. So I can absolutely stand by the fact that these panels don't perform like silicon. They perform way better when it comes to terrible conditions like that.
So what we're going to do is we've got one bank of 3 here, one bank of 3 here. Each bank of 3 is going to be wired in series. So we've got the positive cable for this bank, or this panel here. We've got the negative cable for this panel here. So these two will then connect positive negative, and that gets these two together. Then we do the same over here. So
many of you have seen Duncan on our videos in the past, and we want to introduce who Duncan is and what he actually means to the project. He's pretty remarkable. Duncan is a professor of engineering. He's been working with us for the last couple of years to design all of the electronic systems on Brupeg. So everything from the vessel monitoring system, from sensors on the engine, the entire electrical system in terms of power generation with solar, generators, wind turbines, that sort of thing, through to power storage for our batteries, hot water storage, etc. And then also through our inverters, 240 volts, 24 volts and 12 volt DC system. So Duncan's had an enormous impact on how we've designed the electronics on board the boat. And he's allowed us to create really good, robust and safe systems because of all of his background and knowledge in this particular area. And Duncan's become a really close friend to Jess, myself and Burke. So Dunk, for everything that you've offered and done for us and who you've been throughout this whole process, thank you. You're absolutely awesome. He's also the lead architect in the vertical takeoff and short landing runway that's going to be fitted to Brupeg.
these two get connected together, and then that far cable, that one there, that needs to loop around and come back to the junction box. And there's the positive for the 3 panels. And then this cable is the negative for the bank of 3, and it will come back. So now we've got the positive and negative into the junction box of these 3 panels clustered. We'll do the same for those 3. So we'll end up with 2 positives coming in here, 2 negatives coming in here, but they'll be going off to 2 solar controllers, one for this bank, one for that bank. And we'll do that for all of the panels. We will then go through the roof Now here we should be behind the wall of the lounge, so on the back deck there, so we'll go down there. This will fix the box there or somewhere thereabouts, seal the bottom of it, so basically the cables are then going down. We've already got the wiring underneath going off to the solar controllers. So really the immediate job is we can wire these up in series. We've got some series connectors we'll put in here with lots and lots of heat shrink with the resin core, so that'll then watertight all of that.
So one of the things we're thinking of is with this box, when we cable gland into the sides for the actual positive and negatives, and on the bottom here, once this is all glued down to the roof, we're going to put a hole saw through here and through here, which will correspond to a hole in the roof here and here. It's exactly the same system we used on the last solar system. So you have a waterproof box for all your cable connections and using glands to get your cables through the plastic. This is heavy wall plastic, by the way. It's not a lightweight little dinky little thing, it's pretty chunky. But you don't weather seal these holes here. You allow the atmosphere to be able to come and go, because if you ever get water in this box, it can drain straight out. The hole's on the bottom of the box, so gravity's obviously going to try and keep it empty as much as possible. But if we seal this up right now in hot, humid Queensland weather, as soon as we go to a cold environment, you're going to get condensation inside this box. So you need a way of allowing the atmosphere to come in and out without, causing water issues. And if we seal all of our connections properly with, the right heat shrink and, the proper terminals, we shouldn't have an issue no matter what. So we just had a thought, we actually don't need two holes. We're going to just put one larger diameter hole in there when we do the drilling through, mainly for simplicity. The wires are just going to go through that hole. They don't need to be separated at that point.
One thing we're going to be very, very careful of is you notice that all the ends are insulated right now. Once we start putting these in series, that voltage is going to climb. So we need to be very, very careful just for our own safety. Not to touch.
Don't lick the terminals.
Don't lick the terminals. Yeah. We'll have to stop Damien doing that.
Again.
A little wire identification going on here.
Let's get some light on the subject. So we're at the stage of wiring up 4 groups of panels. We've already got 4 Victron solar controllers. So they've all had firmware updates. They're all good to go. And we've already got the wiring which goes as a bundle, a single bundle, back to the stern of the boat. So what we need to do now is identify which pair in that bundle belongs to which Victron's solar controller. So what I've done is started, and this is one pair of wires randomly chosen from the bundle, and I've simply shorted them together and taken a multimeter at the other end and identified the single pair that are shorted out. So it's clear that obviously we know this end is Victron 1. I now know which is the other end for Victron 1. Our own little naming convention, a lot of imagination, Victron 1, 2, 3, 4. We will need to order more because we've got more groupings of panels, but we can at least start with 4.
Right, and does that mean that if that gets going, we get the solar hooked up and running?
We should get 4 groups of panels.
Oh, wow.
Solar going this afternoon, yeah.
Okay, wow, okay, that's awesome.
So I've identified the first pair of wires and they're going back to Victron 1, which we just talked about. So now I can take them out of the loop and reduce the number of combinations. We now know that this pair connects through to the second Victron. So there's the continuity there. So we'll now label this pair Victron number 2. And fortunately our combinations are reducing as we go. So there's only one more pair we need to identify, and of course crossing our fingers the last pair is going to Victron number 4.
So plan time. Need to get these boxes fastened down or glued down to the boat. We're going to be putting them in between the junction box on the end of the panels. So it's going to be one box here that'll deal with these 6 panels. That allows this cable to curl back in. But we're slightly on the panel on each side. Not the end of the world, we can make it up with the glue that we're using, which is Fixtech 8FN. It's a pretty full-on structural glue made by Fixtech, and we're going to be using an absolute monster of this stuff because we don't want them coming off. Yep, that's never coming off. Same deal on this one. This one here I have to make some allowances for the exhaust stack. I also have to factor in where the end of the lounge is, the rear roof on the saloon area. There's a well just there that runs along, that's the back wall of the saloon. So I want this box on the outside of the boat, so if we have a leak, it's outside of the lounge, not inside the wall and the insulation and all that sort of stuff. So put it right there, I think we're good.
While I'm doing that, the guys are getting the last of the solar glued down to the roof of the wheelhouse.
Of trying to hide these cables and keep them safe and so on, is we're basically pinning them down like that to the deck. So we can't get conduit to go over these. It's just we hunted everywhere today and it was literally too hard. So we're going to be basically physically gluing the cable down to the deck itself, and then linking these two up. So we've got, I think this one's negative and positive, and we're linking them up so that we can essentially pair these three panels as one large group, and then we'll take the positive and negative of the outside panels down to the front of the boat. But for now, we just need to join the panels together.
So we'll do two things. One is when we're ready with the length, we'll cut both of these cables and then join with this butt connector here. That's resin infused heat shrink. So that'll then find a mechanical bind on both the insulation there and then the crimping on the conductor inside. And then over that, and we must always remember to put it on before we start this, we'll cut about that much of this much thicker heat shrink, and then that'll encapsulate the whole lot. So we've really got then two water barriers.
Do you want to slice down there with my thumb?
Okay, you happy with that?
Yep.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah. Okay, lovely.
Okay, this is the bit we got to remember. Put this on.
Okay. If you're doing a lot of electrical work, spend 20 bucks and get a pair of these off eBay. It's the best 20 bucks you'll ever spend in your life. They are amazing. The trick when you're doing splicing is make sure that you've got enough sticking out to go the halfway along the little tube, but not enough so you don't strip so much off that your black insulation doesn't touch this little tube inside. So see here, with both of them pushed up, the black is hard up against the tube there. You want to make sure that you can't see any conductor whatsoever once you push them in.
So I'll apply pressure both ends here while Damien crimps it.
Okay.
And this is where we double check, did we really put that on?
And then once you've done your crimp, you always want to do a pull test. If it's going to fail, it'll fail right now. And if it's going to fail, you want it to fail now so you can fix it, as opposed to you doing all your crimping and all your heat shrinking and then the thing starts coming loose or it gives you a bad connection.
So we're going to apply the heat gun now. We're applying about 600 degrees. It's a bit windy up here, so it's a bit of a challenge. We're putting this plate underneath just to protect the panels. Now what I'm looking for is, you can see it's shrinking, and I'll just move down here. What you can also see is that it's wetting underneath. So that's the resin melting. So that means we've got the heat shrinking going, and I just need to go around the corner, make sure I get all sides. And that means we're getting the glue doing its job.
And a trick to look for is you want to see if you've got resin sliding out the end of the heat shrink itself. If it looks liquid at the end, you know the glue's coming out, which is what you want to see. If you haven't put enough heat on, that won't happen, so it's a good test.
Now this is probably about 2 mil thick,
Yeah.
the side walls on this, so this is going to take quite a bit of effort here. And what I like doing is starting off on the end there, and you can see it's starting to shrink, and then you get a bit of a wave going. A bit slow because we've got wind coming across at the moment. Damien's just lifted the plate off the panels a bit, so I'll come around here and you'll now see that end shrink up. It'll be pretty much shrinking all the way around now. I'm going backwards here, more for the camera, so I've got a backwards wave happening. But Damien will be looking out for glue on my left hand end there.
So when you're using resin infused heat shrink like this, if you're using a heat gun, you want to make sure you got one that'll do at least 600 degrees Celsius. So it does take quite a bit of heat to get this stuff to melt. You can use it with a small flame, like a MAP gas burner if you're a wee way away so you don't burn your insulation. But it does actually take quite a bit of effort to get this to melt down.
That should be fine.
So with the crew now familiar with what we needed to achieve on the roof, we went through with each connection and set up a bit of a production line with each person doing one part of that process.
I think we're okay.
Time to get the last of the solar laid down onto the foredeck on Brupeg's cabin. We've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6 panels, so that gives us 1100 watts up here, which is pretty staggeringly awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So Brupeg's got almost 5 kilowatts of solar on it. I think it's about 4.5 kilowatts, something like that now, with once this is laid down. We're going to go through the same process. We'll clean the roof off. It's had 2 coats of new paint, so we know that it's going to have a really good bonding surface. We're going to acetone it down, make sure it's nice and clean, and then we'll start laying the panels down. But the issue that we have on this roof is there's too many obstructions for it to be an easy install, and we have to be incredibly precise with how we lay them down, because if we get it wrong by even a couple of millimeters, they just won't fit.
So the reason why you have to be super careful about getting them tied together is like we're touching right there, and we're touching right over there at the box as well. So we basically have no space.
And you can sort of see how tightly these are laid. They're basically millimeter perfect. So you can see the layout. It's a little bit asymmetrical, but because of the obstructions we've got, that's pretty much all we can go with at the moment. I was so wrong. I was utterly convinced that we were only going to get 4 panels up here. I made an ass of myself explaining that we're only going to get 4 panels on here, and then Beck and Jess went and put 6 panels on here, which is quite good. With the solar now glued down to the front cabin, it's time to carry on with the wiring for the rear panels up to our charge controllers in our battery box. You can see how much dust accumulates in one day in the workyard. This is going to become relevant later on when we start doing our testing on these panels.
Yep, looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's tidy, eh?
Yep.
That's right.
Good.
Done. We've just hooked the solar panels up. We're trying to figure out which one is which. I'm going to rename them so that they correspond with the groups of solar that's up top. So at the moment they're both doing 100 watts. So whatever one he's just shaded has dropped down 200 watts. 90 watts, great, that's awesome. So whatever one he's shading, we now know it's that one there that he's affecting, so we can rename it. What we've been working on is basically getting cables connected up with our P-clamps and some conduit running around. We haven't finished this side because we've actually run out of conduit, but we've got them going up through a hole in the roof. This will all get tidied up soon once we get the conduit and everything back. But up top, we've got 2 groups of solar panels hooked up, and they're now coming through to the charge controllers. One of the things that I don't necessarily think people factor in enough when they're looking at solar is how good a panel looks. I've seen panels that have like black frames and things like that, and they've done a few things, but they just don't look as sleek as a thin film panel like this. The other thing is reflection. I was really worried about how reflective these were going to be, but that's full midday sun. That's as bright as I can make the panels actually shine. And that last point really matters, because on Brupeg we tried to cover every available surface with solar, because for us that means running the generator less fossil fuels. It means we can stay out at sea longer with less cost to a community funded project. And the key to having non-reflective solar panels is the fact that they're right in front of where we steer Brupeg in the wheelhouse. In the front cabin, we've got over 1 kilowatt of solar sitting in front of the windows where we steer Brupeg from. So having non-reflective thin film panels makes a big deal for us being able to actually use the boat. If I spin round, there you go. So you can see we're looking through those windows to drive Brupeg, and we're looking out over these panels. So if these panels are too shiny, it becomes really difficult to actually see where we're trying to go. And again, full midday sun, that's as much as we can get them to actually shine. Here's something that happened recently. Surprise! So Brupeg has had her first sea trials, and we cannot wait to share this with you. It was an awesome day out, and the boat performed flawlessly. Brupeg needs to be self-sufficient when we're on expeditions at anchor, and these almost 5 kilowatts of CIGS solar panel from BougeRV help us stay independent of wharfs and marinas.
Thank you, BougeRV. Thanks for being on board with us and sponsoring us with our solar. We look forward to working with you this year.
BougeRV not only helped us out with the solar panels needed to power Brupeg, but they gave us portable air conditioning, portable lithium power packs, as well as 12-volt refrigeration and portable camping solar. So we'll be using this on some of our future expeditions.